Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin from Sip and Dip Australia, and today I'm going to be walking you through this virtual Sip and Dip Learn to Paint class. Please keep in mind this video will obviously go a lot quicker than what it will take for you to paint this piece, so just pause and restart wherever you need to. Alrighty, let's get started. So we're going to start with our background, obviously, and we're going to start with some white paint, and we're going to do a circle in the top left-hand corner. Once we have that white circle all filled in, we're going to grab our light blue and start doing a circle around that. Then once we have that light blue circle, we're going to do the same thing with some dark blue. Now that you've done that, we're going to blend those colours together. So you want to use a little bit of white and some water on your paintbrush, and then we're just going over where those colours meet. As you are blending this out, you want to bring it further into that left-hand corner, and then you'll probably have to add some dark blue on as you're finishing up. We want the outside of that circle to be the darkest. Alrighty, now we want to take our yellow and make a circle like we did with the white, but this time in the bottom right-hand corner. Once you have that yellow circle looking nice, we're going to take some white and just blend that into the center of that yellow circle. Now we're going to take our green and do a circle around that yellow circle, the same thing we did with the blue. So we're going to fill that space all the way into that bottom right hand corner, and then we're going to take some yellow and maybe some white to blend those two colors together. Now that we have our two light sources finished, we're going to fill in the rest of that white space around them with some black paint. To blend that colour in with our black, we're going to get whichever colour it is, so either blue or green, and just lightly back and forth strokes into the black to blend that in together. And after I've blended that green, I like to add in a little bit of blue and blend that through a little bit, just to reflect where the two lights meet. When you're happy with that, you can go back and make any other changes. So I actually went back and added a little bit more white through my blue. I just wanted it to be a little bit lighter and blend with that white circle in the middle a bit better. Once you're happy with that background, we're going to get started on our jar and our fairy. So for your jar, you want to use green paint, and we're going to start with the two outsides of the jar. So just two parallel lines. We don't need to join up the bottom of our jar because grass will be going over the top. But at the top of our jar, we're just going to join those lines up with a straight line across. Now taking that same color, we're going to do a little bit of shading around the outside of the jar. So we want that line to be a little bit thicker, and then we're going to make small strokes up into the center of the jar. This is what is going to make it look like it is a curved jar and give it a little bit of shape. To shade the top of our jar, we're just going to go straight across the bottom of where we've done that line. After I've done this, I just go back with my green and make sure that the very corners of the jar are nice and dark. Okay, now we're going to get started with our grass. So we want to take some dark green first. There are two techniques you can do with this. You can either do what Yana's doing here and start with a very light hand and push down a little bit harder as you get to the bottom of your line of grass. Or you can do it the opposite way and start with a heavier hand, and as you get to the top of your piece of grass, lift your hand and flick it up to a thin line. We want to make sure our pieces of grass go in all different directions and are all different lengths as well. Once you start to fill this space with the one color of green, make sure you mix your green that you're currently using with a little bit of black or a little bit of white to make it either darker or lighter, so that we can add a little bit of dimension to this grass. Alright, when we're happy with that grass, we're going to rinse our brush, grab some white and pop that in the center of our jar. This is going to be from behind our fairy, so we want it to be nice and light. If you have, however, found that you've put a little bit too much white, you can just grab some yellow and use that. I find it easy to add some yellow so that it's nice and blended as well. So now we're going to grab our black and get started on our fairy. The first step we want to do is make this water droplet shape towards the right of our jar, as you can see here, and just above the grass. Then you're going to add in the shape of her thigh, so you can just make this simple 2 lines and add the shape in later. It looks completely fine. And then you're going to add in the bottom part of her leg, so her calf obviously. We do want to make sure that from where her knee is to where her ankle will be, it will get a little bit thinner. So from here we're going to add the upper part of her body, so an oval shape, not quite circle shape. From there we're going to put her arm where it would be resting on her leg. So again, we want to do the same thing we've done with that calf and make sure it comes into a thinner space. Then we are going to add her neck, very small, we don't want her neck to look too long, and her head. And once we have those shapes in, we can start to fill them in. You will start to get more of a picture once everything is filled in and all of those shapes become one. Now that we have that filled in and you're happy with how that looks, we're going to add a simple circle on the back of her head for her bun. And if you like, just a couple of flicks from where her fringe would be sticking out. From there, we're just going to put in her wings from the top of her back. So we want to make sure you can see the two. One of them will sit just above the other. Alrighty, you've done your fairy. So now we're just going to make the finishing touches. We're going to grab some yellow paint, and this is going to be our stars or our fireflies. So we're just going to make some small dots around this center bit of our canvas between the 2 lights. Some bigger dots, some smaller dots. Make sure they all vary in size. And then once we've done that, we're going to go in and do the same thing with some white. And then once you've done that, we're going to grab some gold and put that on top of the white spots that we've just done. We are also going to do a couple of gold spots in around the jar where your fairy is. And now you're finished! Thank you so much for joining me for today's virtual art class. Make sure you share all of your creations on our social media. We love seeing what you guys have created. And hopefully we'll see you in another video. Bye!